In this video, we'll look at how to add interface elements and effects to your presentations in CL3VER. For the demonstration, I'm using a free 3D model from the SketchUp 3D warehouse. You can find it at bit.ly/CL3VERhouse. I've imported it into the Architecture Daylight 8am preset, which you can find on the Create Project screen. We're going to add an interface telling the user more about the model. To add interface elements to your presentation, go to the Insert menu. As you can see, there are a number of types of elements. Buttons are interactive buttons in the interface of a presentation. Images are non-interactive images. Panel lets you create your own interface graphics using the vector editor. Frame lets you insert an iframe, and Menu automatically generates an interface menu based on the steps in your presentation. Menus and panels are covered in detail in other videos, so we won't look at them here. Instead, let's add an image to the presentation. Click on the image icon. We're going to place the image in 2D space, which means that it will sit at a fixed position on the screen, but you can also place elements in 3D space. We'll talk about this more later. To add the image to the scene, select 2D Image, then click in the viewport. In the dialog that appears, you can browse for the image file. I'm going to use this graphic, which I created in Photoshop and saved as a PNG file. When you're ready, click Open. As well as telling the user to download the model, we need to give them a way to do it. We can do this by adding an iframe. An iframe is a window within the interface of a presentation that can be used to display another website. Go back to the Insert menu, click on Frame, then click in the viewport again. By default, the iframe displays CL3VER's demo video. Let's change that. In the Properties panel, go to the Source field and type in a new URL. I'm going to use the web page for the model on the SketchUp 3D warehouse. You can see that the iframe updates automatically. Now let's resize the frame so that it takes up less of the screen. Go to the iframe size fields. In the X field, enter a value of 300. In the Y field, enter a value of 250. As you can see, the iframe is now just large enough to display the download button. Now let's reposition the iframe so that you can see the image beneath it. In the UI Position rollout, go to the Y field and type in a value of 44. Now let's create a button in the interface giving the readers more information about the model. Go back to the Insert menu and click Button. This time we're going to use a 3D button. Click in the center of the viewport to insert it. As you can see, the button is a 3D object. If I rotate the camera, you can see that it stays at a fixed position in 3D space. You can reposition it by using its transform gizmo in the same way that you would a 3D model. We could import a custom image for the button, but CL3VER comes with a library of ready-made graphics. You can find them by opening the drop-down in the Properties panel. I'm going to use icon 35, which is a question mark. We want to make the button display information about the model when the viewer mouses over it. We can do this by using interface effects. Go back to the Insert menu and click FX. As you can see, there are 4 types of effects. Tooltips display text when the viewer mouses over an interface element. Highlights create a highlight effect. Sonars create an animation around the element. And movement lets you animate the movement of the element on screen. We're going to look at tooltips and sonars here. First, select Tooltip and click anywhere in the viewport. You can assign the tooltip to any interface element, so select the 3D button and click OK. In the vector editor, we can create text for the tooltip. We're going to use it to display the number of polygons in the model, so type in 3710 polys. When you're done, close the vector editor. If you mouse over the button in the viewport, you can see that the tooltip appears above it. To change its position, go to the Alignment rollout in the Properties panel. Open the second drop-down and choose Bottom. Now when you mouse over the button, the tooltip displays below it. Because it's grey, it's quite hard to see the button in the interface. Let's make it more noticeable by adding a sonar effect. Go back to the Insert menu, then FX, and click Sonar. Click in the viewport to create it. Again, you need to choose which interface element to assign it to. Choose the 3D button and click OK. You can design the look of the sonar effect using the vector editor, but we're going to use the default look, so just close the pop-up window. If you mouse over the button in the viewport, you can see the sonar effect playing. We can customize the animation using the In Animation and Out Animation rollouts in the Properties panel. Let's make the animation slower. To do this, go to In Animation and choose the duration setting. Enter a value of 400 milliseconds. Go to the Out Animation rollout and do the same thing. Now when you mouse over the button in the viewport, you can see the sonar animation plays at half its original speed. Finally, we need to choose which steps of the presentation our new interface elements are shown in. To see the interface elements in your presentation, go to the Presentation menu and click Elements. If I select the 3D button, you can see that it's currently only shown in one step. We want it to be visible at all times, so from the Show in Steps drop-down, select Always Visible. I'm going to do the same thing for the iframe and the image. Now let's see our new user interface in action. To do this, go to the Project menu, click Preview, and then Save. When the preview loads, you can see that all of our new elements and effects appear in the interface of the presentation.